Nobody thinks about vacuums until they malfunction. Well, that's not really true. Mark does. He's our manager. Kenny and Terry do too. They repair them all day long. This little kid does. His mom had just bought him that toy vacuum, and it stopped popping the little pellets around when he pushed it. He insisted she bring it in for repair. Kenny fixed it for him, and we chalked up another happy customer. If you're a vacation rental company, property manager, or resort executive, you might want to think about vacuums for just a minute. Or better yet, think about them for at least the next 4 minutes and 23 seconds, the exact length of this video. If you think about it hard enough, you'll likely conclude that they're probably the most expensive thing you've never thought much about. They cost a lot, and they consume a lot of your staff's time, which is an even greater cost. More on that a little bit later. Let's run through a brief analysis. I'm pretty confident you'll see yourself and your business in the numbers. Why am I confident? Because our analysis is centered around an actual client example. We'll call them Ocean Osprey Vacation Rentals. Hoover for short. Oh, and in case you're new to the area, we're the vacuum center in North Myrtle Beach. We're the guys that for the last 30 years have been fixing floor cleaning equipment for the largest resorts and property managers on the Grand Strand. Hoover is a relatively new client of ours. Like others up and down the Grand Strand, they're a decent-sized company. They manage 350 vacation rental units. That's well over 250,000 square feet of floor space. Every vacation rental unit has a vacuum in it. Hoover's housekeeping staff use them to clean following every single guest stay. That's like vacuuming the Biltmore house twice every single week. As you'd expect, equipment breaks down from time to time, and Hoover has to see that it gets fixed. At any given time of Hoover's fleet of 350 vacuums, they have 5 or 6 sitting around the shop waiting to be repaired. They could be waiting on parts, but more likely they're waiting on one of the maintenance folks to devote the time necessary to fix them. And that's time that's taken away from their real job. Pools, HVAC systems, common areas, etc. More on this later. Let's get back to thinking about the cost of vacuum cleaners. Believe it or not, expending little or no effort on them is still really expensive. If one does only the bare minimum things to keep a vacuum running, they're still paying through the nose. Don't believe me? Let's start a list. All vacuums require replacement supplies to change out over time. Bags, belts, filters, brush rolls, all that kind of stuff. Let's focus on bags for a moment. Some vacuum cleaners are bagless, but others require bags. Hoover's fleet is split right down the middle. Most manufacturers suggest changing bags at least every 6 to 8 weeks. But keeping with our minimalist approach, changing bags only 3 times a year for Hoover's fleet, it still costs them $3,396 over 3 years. Here, let's start a tally and add that amount to it. Let's move on to vacuum belts. Most vacuum cleaners have at least one belt in them. It's what causes the brush roll to spin. The brush roll agitates the carpet fibers, and that allows the vacuum suction to pull dirt out of the carpet or rug, whatever you're vacuuming. Belts are rubber, and as such, they stretch. When they're on a machine for a long period of time, they become overly stretched and stop spinning the brush roll as fast as it needs to spin. Belts need to be changed periodically, every 3 months if you listen to the Vacuum Dealers Trade Association. Hoover tended to only change belts when they broke, on average once every 3 years. So not only was the machine not working up to its potential, a maintenance guy had to drive out to the rental unit to replace the belt. If the housekeeper notified him, that is. And like I said before, we're going to cover the maintenance guy's time later. But it still costs Hoover $1,382 over 3 years to change belts only when they had to. Let's add that to our tally now. Let's move on and talk about filters. Filters are vital. They stop the dust that was sucked up off the floor from shooting out into the room or back into the vacuum's motor. Since there's no bag in a bagless machine, they tend to have better and more expensive filters than their bagged cousins. There are so many kinds of filters, there's not really a rule of thumb for changing them out. That's why Hoover mostly ignored them. They only got changed when something else broke on the machine, usually once every 3 years or so. The maintenance guy would do it, but not before calling and driving all over town to find the filters that fit that specific machine. Changing the filters on Hoover's fleet cost them $1,305 for their bagged machines and a whopping $5,670 for their bagless machines. Add those together and $6,975 gets added to our tally. Wow. Remember when I said that at any given time, Hoover had 5 or 6 machines sitting around the shop waiting to be repaired? Well, they're waiting on our illustrious maintenance guy to get to them, too. Maintenance guys hate working on vacuum cleaners. Hoover's guys spend an average of 5 hours every week getting these machines back online. Some of the time is spent actually working on the machine. But the rest of it is spent driving around looking for parts, calling dealers like us for schematics, or heading over to Walmart to replace it with another equally crappy machine. That 5 hours at $15 an hour, even with no benefits, is costing Uber $11,700 over 3 years. Let's not forget his transportation costs for things like a van, gas, insurance, taxes, etc. at $600 a year or $1,800 over 3 years. And finally, we have to recognize that our beloved maintenance guy can't fix everything. He'll bring some of the machines to us at the vacuum center. Of the 5 or 6 sitting around the shop, we'll repair one of them, and even at their discounted rates, that costs Uber $8,424 over 3 years. Let's add these numbers to the tally. So here we are, let's check out our tally. Uber's 350 machines are underperforming because bags, belts, and filters are only changed when absolutely necessary, which basically means their vacation rentals could be cleaner. Preventative maintenance is an afterthought, and repairs take way too long, both of which are a distraction for the maintenance staff anyway. So subpar machines, no maintenance, and time wasted. And Uber has the privilege of paying $34,000 for this. The vacuum center has a better idea. We offer a fleet management program. In fact, here's a math question for you. When does 34,000 plus 350 equal 25? Uber's answer was when they called us. You saw how they were spending $34,000. Well, they added their 350 machines to the vacuum center's fleet management program. That saved them 25%. $9,000, not bad. And here's how. Under our fleet program, maintenance is covered and made routine, enabling machines to actually do the cleaning in your units. Repairs are covered, just a phone call away, and usually completed in a day. Supplies are covered and restocked routinely. We handle the transportation costs, not you. You're covered with loaners when and where they're needed. And when you need new machines, they can be as much as 60% off depending on the make and model. Just imagine, the most expensive thing you hardly ever think about can also be hassle-free, lower cost, and higher quality. The Vacuum Center. Call us or visit us online.